In the previous session, we were talking about different types of installation methods. So already discussed how to install and configure Minikube in our local desktop or laptop inside Windows 10 operating system. And we were trying to configure cluster environment inside the AWS virtual machines. So in the previous session, we created a few machines and we completed a few steps. So today we'll complete the remaining part. And if time permits, we'll see how we can create a Google Freighter account and we can create cluster inside the GCP. So we are following this document to install and configure Kubernetes cluster with Kubedium. So on the day I took the one of the machine master node and installed the Docker and enabled the Docker and SLNX disabled and swap was made it off and configure Kubernetes repository inside that machine. I think we installed this packages also. Okay, so we're supposed to execute this command, right, on the master node. So till here, you need to execute all these commands and all the machines. If you have two worker nodes, one worker node, three worker nodes, whatever it may be, in all the worker nodes, you need to execute till here. But this command you need to execute whichever you decided as a master. Okay, that when we become as a master server. So as I said, master requires two CPUs, so that's why I configured T2 dot medium machine. So on that machine, I'm going to execute this command. But these commands were not executed on the worker nodes. So once I finish doing on master node, then I'll do it on the worker nodes. Okay. So here, let me log in. Okay, this is a master. So we selected CentOS operating system. So the username should be the CentOS by default. If you select Amazon AMI or Red Hat Linux, then the username will be EC2-user, the default username. If you select CentOS operating system image, then it's CentOS. If it is Ubuntu, then username will be Ubuntu. And key, private key, I'm not sure which key I selected for this one. Qbatch. Okay. So once login, so now the command I need to execute is this one. Okay, this is a command. So this command is going to do initialization because this command will be available after installing this Kubedium package. So with the help of Kubedium initialization, it is going to be initialized. So here, always remember, you need to give the IP address. So which IP address? The IP address of your master. So whatever the IP address it is assigned, this is the one. Okay, this IP address need to be assigned here. You need to modify it accordingly. And this one hyphen pod network. So inside that pod, it is going to use an IP range. So for that, we are using this IP range. Why we are using this IP range, I will explain you when we talk about this command. Okay. So we are going to use a Calico network. In coming classes, you will understand what is this Calico flannel networks. So here in this Calico network, by default, it is defined this IP range. That's why I'm giving here. If you don't want to give this IP range, if you want to customize it, you want to give some other IP range, then you should modify inside this file network file and give that subnet range inside this one. Okay, or else we can directly go with this IP range. So pod network means what are the pods are getting created. For those pods, it will create separate IP range. For every pod, it will create an IP range. Okay. So this is the command I need to execute inside the master. I hope all the services, recommended services are up, like Docker and Kubedium. So once this is done, we can create a normal user account, uh, and we need to copy the config file inside that normal user account. I will show you once the initialization is complete. So it is building the cluster. It will take a couple of minutes. So once it is done, it is going to create a file called admin.conf file, which contains the cluster information. So that configuration file we need to copy to a user account, any user. Like in the same machine, if any user is there, if that user want to execute the commands like kubectl get nodes, kubectl get pods, if they want to, if that any user want to access to the cluster, then this config file should be available under that user's home directory, and that should be created inside the home directory, like .cube is the directory name, and inside that need to be created a config file, and copy the config file from this location. This from this content should be copied to this one. Okay, so that this specific user can also able to execute and talk to the cluster by sending the API calls with kubectl command. Okay, and the same config file, let's say I'm talking about from master server, but in case if you want to access the Kubernetes cluster from your local laptop, or maybe from some other machine, so there also it should be available this .cube directory, and inside that we should create config file, and inside config file the same content should be copied. Then you can able to access to the cluster from your laptop also. In laptop we can install kubectl CLI. So if once you install, then if you have this configuration, then it will go and talk to that cluster. Okay, so that's how we can configure. Or not only laptop, if it is any other virtual machine, from there you want to access the cluster, there also you can do the same thing. Under the any user's home directory, you should configure this, so automatically it can able to go and access the cluster. Still it is taking time. So what I can do in the meantime, let me do the remaining steps inside the worker nodes. Let me log into one of the worker node. Okay, so right now I'm into the worker node. So here the same steps I need to follow. I need to install Docker, and then I need to disable SC Linux. All these steps I need to follow. This is not a command. Don't execute this. It's a mistake inside creating this file. Okay, so in one of the work node, I'm installing the Docker, and then enable the Docker, and unfortunately an error has occurred. Timeout waiting for the conditions. Error is like always the kubelet is not running. Okay, why it's not running? Service kubelet status. It's active. No, I think it did not generated the token. Okay, so let me do, in the meantime, let me do remaining steps inside the another machines. So I am doing the reset, whatever it has been done, it is going to reset. Again, we'll try. So in the meantime, let me complete the process of installing the softwares inside remaining two VMs. So starting the Docker service and make it permanently online on boot times. Okay, once done, and then SC Linux need to be disabled. Then there will be no firewall inside this machine, so need to execute this disable firewall. And creating a repo file with this so that we can install Kubernetes packages. So installing these three packages because we configured Kubernetes repo. This is a Kubernetes repo has been configured. So now need to install these three packages. If the recent was does not clean your Kubernetes files and you must remove them manually. Please check the contents of the. So let me try once again. So again, I'm executing the same command on master server. We'll see. So in the meantime, let it make it ready the remaining machines. So in the worker node, install these three packages, and then let me start this kubelet service. In stop state, start it, and make it on run level 3 and 5. That's it. So this command we should not execute on that machine. So let me log into another machine, another worker node. Need to do the same steps. So log into another worker node and start from here. already we allowed all the ports for all these machines. So we need to enable specific ports here. So this is a new worker node. So disable SC Linux, and before that let me start the service, Docker service. And service Docker status, start it, and then disable SC Linux. Actually, it will not take this much of time, but not sure why it is having problem this time. I never faced that issue previously. Swap off, and then IP tables configuration. Set the configure repo, install these packages, and then start the kubelet service. In the meantime, let me go and check once again. If again it is going to give a problem because it is taking longer period to complete it. So this packages has been installed, and service kubelet status, start. Done. So these machines are ready now. Now once this master is ready, then we can able to execute this command. Okay, so in this document I am recommending create a user account and copy your config file under this user account and then execute this command. With root account also you can execute, but its recommendation is execute it with a normal user account. Okay, so to execute that this command and talk to the cluster, this config file should be under the normal user accounts. That's why this is the step. You can ignore if you don't want, you can use it as a root, or else you can, if you want to do it through normal user, you can do it. Okay, and then we'll get this command, or after executing this command also we'll get the token. The token like we have seen in the Docker swarm, whenever you initialized it gave us one token to go and execute on the remaining nodes so that they will join into the cluster. Same way, after executing this command, now it should give us a token. In future, if you did not note it down the token, you lost it. Again, if you want to get the token, then this is the command to get the token. So that again the same command we can copy and execute on the worker node so that they will be added into the cluster. Control component may have crashed or exited when started with the container runtime. To troubleshoot, Docker is also running. Why? Hmm, let me search it. Let me try this. They are recommending to uninstall. Maybe problem with the kubelet. Hmm. Service kubelet status. Automatically it is active. Okay, so it is active now. Let me once again try to initialize. What? Okay. Actually, I missed one thing. That's the reason I think it's not working. I said here we need to give the IP address, but I did not change the IP address. Directly I copied this command and executed it. That's the problem it is getting. So I need to give the node IP. So we are initializing to this address. We are making that publish. We are making this IP as an master server, but this IP is not available. That's why it is giving a problem. I did not change the IP. Okay. 76.19. This is the IP of this virtual machine. Okay. Sorry, I need to do cube reset, kubedium reset, because already we installed. So we need to reset it. So see, I was using the IP. So you guys also just remember you need to whenever, or else I'll change this document. Okay. Did you guys created a Google Free Tier account?
It's asking for a card actually.
Guys, did you guys created Free Tier account in Google
Hello.
GCP?
We have in
Yes.
AWS. Right?
Okay. So again, I'm initializing this. We'll see now what it will give. See, now it's completed. Okay. The problem was with the IP address. It could not able to find that IP address. So that's why it is giving an error. And we were stuck at this point, right? So immediately it cleared, and control plane components are healthy. And if you see here, your Kubernetes control plane has initiated successfully. So this is our master server. And to start using your cluster, you need to run the following as a regular user. So they are also recommending to do this one. So create a .kube directory in a normal user, and copy this config file to that user, and change the permission, because you are going to do this as a root user. So the directory will be, the .kube directory will be under the root. So that's why it's changing the permission. So let me do that. And then they are suggesting you should now deploy pod network to the cluster. Okay, so even cluster is recommending to do this. So what I'm going to do, sorry. So I created a user account, and I create a directory, and then I'll execute this command cp -i etc kubernetes admin.conf file to the home. Okay, so here the name should be config. The name of that file should be config, and the content of this admin.conf file we are copying into this file. So once it is copied, then change ownership, because if you see here, the file is root and the cube directory will be in the root user. So that's why change own -r/home. Sorry, I need to give the username and group name. So for user account, we are giving full permissions. And if you check, okay, now if you want to confirm and you want to look into this, what it contains. So let me open this file more. So these are the certificate keys will be available. And if you see, this is what are the IP you are giving at the time of initialization, it will take that IP, and this is the URL. So from wherever you are accessing, let's say if I copy this file into my local machine, and I have kubectl command line tool, then when I'm executing kubectl get pods, get, or any action we want to do, then it will send API call to this URL. Okay, this is a cluster, means master server URL. As I said, in AKS or EKS or GKE, we will have access, means we can send only API call to the URL, what are the URL they are giving to us. We can't see the master server, and we can't do SSH to that server, right? Only we can just send the API calls. They will give one DNS URL. Okay. So here in this KubeADM concept, we installed manually in a virtual machine, so that's why we can able to log in into it the master server. That is the difference. So in this config file, if you see, this is a API. It means whenever I'm typing kubectl get commands, so it will in local it will check this config file and it will go and send it to this URL. Okay, so that's why any user apart from whoever contains this config file, they can able to access the cluster. So now root cannot able to access because as of now that admin.conf file has been not copied into the root home directory under the .cube directory. So that's why you cannot able to execute kubectl. Okay, but if I switch to my user account and if I execute this command, see, no resources found because there is no pods has been created. And but before executing these commands, let us complete the final steps to add these nodes. Okay, I think it's produced. Okay, so the screen is not going up, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this command token create, and before that what it is telling, execute this network. So what I'll do, directly I will not execute this one because it will pull this calico.yaml file from the internet and it will execute it. Before that what I'll do, I'll open this file and I'll show you this network. Okay, it is defined inside this one. Calico is one of the network, we use it for the Kubernetes. We have many networks, okay, like wavenet is there, flannel is there, calico is there. So um, if it is a bare metal, then mostly it's recommended as a Calico network. In the networking part, we'll discuss detail about this one. So instead of executing this, I'll execute wget command. First, let me see wget is available. It's not available. Yum install wget. Sorry, I should be a root user account. Okay, so wget has been installed. Now I'll download it first and then I'll execute it. Okay, it's downloaded locally and this is my file. And this is completely your Kubernetes network. It will going to create the cluster network. Okay, the CNA network configuration to install on each node. So see, where it is here. Okay, so Calico IP version pool said here, this is the IP range. That's the reason we are giving here this range for our pod network. If you don't want to give this network, make sure you modify here, then give that new range over here, or else use default network. Okay, so now I can use this command kubectl create -f calico. Directly I can give the file. Is it kubectl? Yeah, I should execute as a Praveen user account because it's recommended. Okay, Kubernetes recommended to do this with a normal user account instead of a root. Move calico to /home. Now I'm executing this one. Okay, done. It's created. So from here I can able to execute kubectl command. It's a command line tool. It will contact the cluster and you can create, delete, view, anything you can do it. So now network has been created and then we can execute this command to check the token. I lost the token which it was provided with the previous command. So no worries, again we can able to get it. So this is a token. I need to execute this command on the worker nodes. Okay, so let me go to the one of the worker node and here execute it. Done. It's joined. This node has joined the cluster And to see that kubectl get nodes will show you how many nodes are available. And let me go to the another worker node, and here let me, okay, here also it is done. And then again go back to the master kubectl get nodes. So it will take time, just nodes got created, so it will come into the ready state. Now all are ready, and this is master. Okay, clearly it tells this is the master and these two are worker nodes. And to see the version kubectl version hyphen short, it will show you your version. Okay, and kubectl cluster hyphen info, this is to see cluster. Okay, so this is a master server. As I said, this is a master server URL API, and this is DNS server API. Okay, and now we'll see the default pods. Kubectl get pods hyphen n kube system. So always make sure that once you're done with the installation steps, this is a namespace. So inside this namespace, these are the pods gets created. Okay, so this is a Calico network. Like we have three worker nodes. So two worker nodes and one master node. In every worker node, in every machine, it's created a Calico pod so that they can able to communicate. And this is for DNS, and this is HCD. We discussed the components, and this is the API server, and this is a control manager. This is one of the component, and this kube proxy is for network, the cluster network which is created, and this is a scheduler. So what are the components we discussed? Those components it's created as a pod, and if you want to see on which node it got created, and these are the IPs of those machines. Okay, so if you see here, 19 is the master. On master one, this one Calico one pod is running, and yeah, this is a controller, and this is an Calico pod. When we initialize network, it created one pod, and see HCD and core DNS. Okay, so these are the important pods which are running kube controller API server are running on these machines. Okay, so this is how we install Kubernetes cluster on a bare metal. This you can automate by writing a script, and you can automate it in your organization based upon your requirement. So if it is a virtual machine or any type of virtual machine environment, VMware or Oracle VMs in your organization, whatever you're using, if you want to go with the bare metal, then we can go with this concept. Or as said recently, it has been introduced Cube Spray. So Cube Spray also you can use it to install it. Okay. See, cluster, the working will be the same, the but little bit differences will be there compared to the cloud services like AKS, or compared to this. Little bit difference will be there, but 90 to 95% everything is same. So depend upon our environment, the project environment, where it is, where customer is recommending. Okay, based on that, we'll have different methods. So we already discussed one method, Minikube, to install it on local, and one method, Kubedium, and then we'll go and see in the cluster as a service. Okay, how we can use it. So for that, as I said, we should have a Google free tier account. Even I don't have free tier account, means my account has been expired. It's completed 12 months. I need to create a free account now once again. For previous batches, I was using the same this Kubedium concept, and I'm using this cluster to tell them. So now the Why I've choose Google Cloud? Because really speaking, I never logged into the EKS in AWS because in our organization we don't use EKS. We use AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service, and GKE. So why I recommend GKE instead of Azure, because Azure will give you only for 1 month. After 1 month, immediately whatever the credit they are giving 13,000, it will be void, and they are going to charge. But here Google Cloud is giving you this $300. See, $300 for 1 year. It's a free trial account. Okay, so new customers will also get $300 to spend on Google Cloud platform products during your free trial. So anything you can use here. It is not like in AWS, um, EKS is not free. Okay, they have separate type of services they are going to give. Like for example, Micro instance they will give you free. Some S3 bucket 5 GB they are going to give free, but EKS they will not give you for free. Okay, so that's why here Google Cloud they are giving $300 for 1 year, and any service you can use, and they will minus it from this $300. So that's why for practicing Kubernetes service, Google Cloud is the best one. So that's why I'm choosing this for the training purpose. Okay. So now let us create this account. So go to the console.
This is the best requirements.
Hmm.
The VM police actually here.
Sorry, I
And
did not get you. Your voice is
so
breaking.
I
Can you
can
please come again?
I'm am I audible now?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. So I'm asking real-time environments. Which
Hmm.
one is used? Google is used, or like ADM is used? Which type of installation methods are used?
Your voice is breaking. Can you please ping in the chat? Okay. It's automatically took one account. We don't want this account.
How to set up Kubernetes dashboard on AWS EC2 instance?
Means in this, are you talking about this one in the KubeADM concept?
Yes, yes.
So for that, you need to have a like software is required. It's called Heapster or metric server. So Heapster becomes very old. So we can install metric server, and then we should have InfluxDB. Okay. So if we configure these prerequisites, then we can get the dashboard of this Kubernetes cluster. So get started for free this way.
Ravan, I pinged in chat.
Okay. See, Shivraj, I think you are from the first class itself, right? So I said a couple of times that it depends upon your requirement, your project requirement. Okay, what they are using currently. See, if your guys are not into the cloud, if you have an on-premises data center and you guys don't want to go to the cloud, then there is no point of using Google Cloud or Azure Cloud, right? So you need to use it on the bare metal. If your customer or top management decided to, we should go with the our on-premises only, then you should go with the KubeADM. Or else, if they are interested and they want to change from on-premises to cloud, then again it depends which cloud they want to use. Okay, the architects will decide which cloud is suitable for their application. What are the dependencies are there, pricing wise, lot of things will be considered which cloud is better. And not only here the Kubernetes cluster, there will be many other services might be needed for your applications. So altogether, which cloud is providing them, they will look into it and then they'll take that cluster. Okay, means that cloud vendor. Not only for Kubernetes, right? Maybe some other service also you require. Load balancers, API gateways, and what with storage. Lot of other services will be there. So who is providing better service, which we are using? Based on that, they will select the class. They will select the cloud, and then that cloud cluster you are going to use. But again, when for different purpose, if the company is selecting one specific cluster vendor, but that class that cloud vendor cluster whatever is providing is not suitable for your environment, then again they will think about that. Okay, which way they need to install the cluster, whether they want to go with Kubedium or they want to go with the cluster providing by that cloud vendor. So multiple things, it depends. Just simply we cannot say which cluster an organization is going to use. Okay, whether it's a GCP or Azure or EKS. Okay, so GCP is also started charging the Kubernetes from this June onwards, $0.10 per hour, but Azure is not charging. But that only one thing will be not considered. So lot of things will be considered like application functionality, prerequisites, whether everything we can able to get it from the cloud, all these things they'll see. Okay, so here we started creating account. So let me use an account, one of the Gmail ID. So these guys will ask you credit card details. Okay, so we need to provide the credit card details, and based upon our ISP internet service provider, it's selected by default it's India, and I agree. And access to all cloud platform products, get everything that you need to build and run your apps, websites, everything you will get. And 300 on for 12 months. Okay, no auto charge after free trial it ends. So they are not going to charge you after your free trial ends. That is the beauty of this one. See, Azure, what I have done, I created a few things in the Azure. Accidentally I got 15,000 bill for the last month. Okay, I never expected. When I was seeing that it was not showing anything, but automatically detected from my credit card. Okay, but Google is not doing that way. So we ask you for your credit card details to make sure that you are not a robot. You won't be charged unless you manually upgrade to a paid account. Okay, so no need to worry about this one. It's very simple. Just it will ask address and credit card details and what we are doing. Like this is always remember here, change it to individual because we are not doing any business here. And tax status registered individual. That's it. And don't give any PAN card, whichever is showing as an optional. Don't give anything over there. And here, hmm, just okay. So this is how to pay. This is the card details. So what I'm going to do, I just switch off my screen sharing. Then again, I'll come back after entering this credit card details. Just bring me. Let me bring my card. Okay, so I provided my details and it will give you an OTP as usual. So you need to give that OTP. Once it is done, this screen is showing. Welcome cloud. Thanks for signing up. Your free trial includes on screen to spend over the next 12 months. If you run out of credit, don't worry, you won't be billed unless you turn on automatic billing. Okay. So basically, in previous days, okay, they used to give this option at the time of the credit card details. Below that, they used to give this checkbox. Okay, so we need to be very careful to uncheck that box. But now this time they are not giving that box. Okay, so it's a very good thing because if people don't know about that and if it's selected by default, then automatically they'll start building. Because see, once we do practice, afterwards we forget to delete that account and it will complete the 12 months automatically. So then automatically we'll get the billing whatever we are using. Maybe something we did not delete it properly, but can be anything happen. So got it. And this is how our account has been created. Okay, so in the to work in the Google Cloud, first of all we need to create a project. By default the account gives one default project. Apart from this, if you want to create a new project, we can create a project and then we can start working anything. Okay, whether you want to create virtual machines, you want to create load balancers, you want to create a cluster, anything under this project only we are going to create. So tomorrow I will show you creating the cluster inside this Google Cloud. So in the meantime, you guys also create a free tier account so that you can follow me and you can do the practice along with me. Okay, along with me in the sense daily. Once we finish the class, then you can go and do the practice after finishing the session. And someone pinged in the chat.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah. Tell me.
I opened an account yesterday, so it deducted that 1 rupee stuff, but it is not being activated.
Sorry. Can you please come? Are you Ganesh?
No, this is Anil.
Yeah. Tell me.
See, I actually opened an account yesterday, so it deducted that 1 rupees from the card. But right now it is not being activated. I have done tried it twice, but it's saying something you need to contact to support.
Yeah. Here you can see sometimes it will give a problem. That no need to worry. Just open a case with the support guys, either phone support or mail support. Just raise a request. They will solve your issue.
Okay.
Hey, Praveen,
Okay.
quick question.
Yeah. Yes.
If at all 300 is consumed in a 3, 4, 5 months, then they will start charging, right? We have to be careful.
See, if it is completed, if you created anything, then it will be charged. So you
Yeah,
should
that's,
delete everything.
that is true. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for us, we can use this $300 sufficiently to complete this course. Okay. So only thing is whenever we created something, we need to make sure that power off everything once we done with the practical. If you keep on running unnecessary, then the time will run and they will charge you. Okay. The free period is going to be completed.
Yep, I agree.
Praveen, that debit card we can use, right?
See, I'm not sure whether they accept debit cards also. Just give a try. If you have ICICI debit card, I think it will accept. But I never tried with the debit card.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I used
Sometimes
SDFC
these
one.
guys will accept. Even AWS also sometimes they'll ask accept a debit card. Sometimes they don't accept debit cards. So
Okay.
you can try with it. If it is working, then good. And give a debit card like you are not a regular savings account. The if you have any alternate account which doesn't have any money, use those kind of debit cards.
Okay. We can
Okay,
replace.
guys.
Yesterday, actually
Yeah.
used the card, so we can replace the other card or something, right? I used that. It was not working, so I can replace it with the other card, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. So tomorrow we'll create cluster and we'll see practical. In the meantime, so I'm going to delete this AKS this cluster whatever we created inside this one. I'm going to delete this. Okay, guys. Thank
Praveen,
you. Thank you all. Yeah.
Praveen, a quick question. In the real time, Docker using for only creating the images, right? Uh,
No, Docker, everything is running under the Docker only. On top of that, cluster is managing it. Now, if you
yeah.
see here, this all pods, whatever it is running, this is running as a Docker containers only. Okay. From Kubernetes layer, we are seeing it as a pod. But end of the day, if you see, okay, Docker PS, if you see here, these are the Calico
Yes.
pod it is running on this machine. So it's a container. On top of that, we are seeing it's a layer as a pod. Cluster is showing it as a pod. But
Okay.
everything is running on the Docker, the containers. So cluster is to manage this Dockerization. What are the pods it got created, auto scaling, okay, everything, load balancer, creating volumes, assigning it. So backend cluster is managing it. So Docker is not only for images here, Docker is for containers, which is running here. You see here, these are the containers. And even if you see master, Docker PS, if you see, okay. So these many containers are running as of now, core DNS containers.